Hello, students. Today we're going to start the review for section 9.3, or actually it's the second day review. So let's talk about this study guide from 9.3. Okay, first let's determine question number 1 from this study guide review, which you have in Google Classroom. Number 1, you want to remember the following: that we're going to evaluate the 6 trigonometric functions of theta. Okay, we are going to answer, as this part of this review, question number 3. So we've got to find the 6 functions of that particular point. Oh, note, okay, that you're going to have, okay, first of all, you're going to have this. This is x, okay, and this is y, right? So in order to find the functions, don't I need r? So I need to find r is equal to what? Okay, so we already know the formula. The formula for it is the Pythagorean theorem, but I'm going to write it like this because it's easier. Square root of x squared, which is 1 squared, plus the square root of 3, which is squared, because those are my x and y. Well, that's going to give me the square root of 1 plus 3, because the square root of 3 twice is the square root of 9, which is 3. And that equals the square root of 4, which is 2. So r is equal to 2. And that looks familiar, doesn't it? 1, 2, the square root of 3. Doesn't that look like the special right triangle, 30, 60 right triangle? Okay. The next thing we have to do is we have to determine our sides and where is this going to be. Now notice these are positive, so these are going to be in the first quadrant. So the first thing I would do is let's draw, okay, let's draw in green, okay, and let's draw an XY plane, okay, so that we can see what the triangle looks like. All right, so that's going to give me an angle, a triangle. Remember, it's 1 this way, and the square root of 3 is just over 1. So it's going to be a point right about here. Okay, it's going to be a point there. So let's draw a line. Draw a line like this, right through that point. Okay, and then we are going to, okay, then we're going to draw a right triangle. So we're going to draw another line. Draw a line straight down here. Okay, and then we are going to make that a right triangle. So I'm just going to do this here, do this, to make it a right triangle. All right, so what do we have? Let's write the information that we have so far. This is a 1 because it says x is 1. The square root of 3 is right here. Okay, and this one is, of course, r, which is the radius, which is 2. So now let's find sine of theta. Okay, well, the sine of theta, remember the angle has to be this angle because it has to be related to the x-axis. So the sine of theta is opposite over hypotenuse, which is the square root of 3 over 2. We have the cosine of theta, which equals adjacent over hypotenuse, which is 1 over 2. And then we have the tangent of theta, which equals opposite over adjacent, which is the square root of 3 over 1, which is just the square root of 3. And then we have the cosecant of theta. Okay? And sorry about that. Let me fix that. Should have put C there. Okay. So that is a C theta is equal to the reciprocal of this, which is the square root. Oops, again, it's the reciprocal. Okay. So the reciprocal is 2 over the square root of 3. Remember, I have to multiply by the square root of 3, top and bottom. And that gives me 2 square root of 3 over 3. Now let's do the secant, which is the reciprocal of cosine. I like to write it next to each other because I know that that's the reciprocal. So that's just 2 over 1, which is just 2. Then I have the cotangent of theta, which is the reciprocal of this, which is 1 over the square root of 3. And I have to multiply by the square root of 3. Square root of 3, that's a times sign. That equals the square root of 3 over 3. Okay, so there is my first one. That is example number 1. Now let's talk about the next one. The next one we're going to do we're going to do questions number 5. Okay, so let's highlight that. So we're going to do 5 first. Okay, and then let's go back here and let's take another color. Let's take brown. Okay, remember, in order to do this, okay, first we have to draw the angle because it says find the reference angle. Let's highlight that because that's important. You're talking about a reference angle, and a reference angle is related to the x-axis. So the first thing we have to do, okay, is we're going to draw out your xy plane, which I'm going to draw right here. Okay, and then I'm going to remember my angle is 90, 180, so it has to be right about here somewhere, right? So I'm going to draw a line there from here, and it's going to go right through there. Okay, sorry, it's not straight. Okay, let's undo that and make it straight. Why didn't take it straight? It is nice and straight. Okay, and then we're going to go and draw a right triangle. So we're going to draw, okay, another line, and this time we're going to draw a line from here down. Okay, and then I'm going to draw this, so it's like that. There's my right triangle, and then I want to go ahead and my angle, my reference angle has got to be this one, which is theta. So remember, this went all the way like this. It went to here, okay, which is 210 degrees. And because that's in quadrant 3, okay, so I'm going to put right here, I have to do the theta of the prime, which is the reference angle I'm looking for, is 210 minus 180, which is equal to 30 degrees. And there's my reference angle. Remember, always related to the x-axis. Okay, so now let's do another one. Let's do number 7, all right? This time it's in theta. I mean, sorry, not theta, but in radians because it has pi. So the first thing we have to do, okay, is, okay, let's see. The first thing we have to do is we have to draw our coordinate plane, all right? And let's do that in black, all right? And we're going to draw an XY plane over here, okay, because this is actually number 7, okay? So number 7 is here, okay? This was number 5. Let's fix that. So now let's draw our XY plane here so that we could determine, there it is, all right? And then I need to draw the angle, or I have to draw a line, all right? So I have to draw a line now, okay, to the angle I need. But remember, it's negative 4 pi over 3. All right, so the first thing I want to do is determine where that is. Well, I don't know where that is yet, but here's an easy way of doing it. Negative 4 pi over 3. Isn't that negative 1.3 repeating pi? Well, that means this is half a pi, 1 pi, and this is 1.5. So it's got to be somewhere in here, right? And I'm just going to put a dot here. It doesn't matter where. And I'm just going to draw a line from here, okay? And I'm just going to extend it over here like this, okay? And then I'm going to do another line, okay? So that I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to draw a line. Let me go here, okay? And I'm going to draw another line, actually this one, and I'm going to draw it straight down like that. Oops. So undo that. Let me fix it so it's nice and straight. Let me do that. And I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to try to make it straight. Okay, beautiful. Now I'm going to make it a right angle. Okay, and maybe erase a little bit of it so that it looks better. All right, and then I'm going to draw my theta, which is going to be here. Now remember that the angle is negative, so it's going to go, it went this way. See, it went this way because it's negative 4 pi over 3, right? So that means that I have to find the positive angle, okay, positive reference angle, right? Because this is the coterminal angle, okay? Coterminal angle is what I have to find out, all right? So coterminal angle, right? So because it's a coterminal angle, I need to go the opposite direction. So I'm going to go this one. I'm going to go this way, all right? So it's got to go here. So in order to find the coterminal angle, I'm in quadrant 3, isn't that? So, or actually, sorry, this is 1, 2. That's quadrant 2, not 3, 2. 3 is over here. This is 2, all right? So to find my coterminal angle, and it's in quadrant 2, I'm going to do 2 pi, because remember coterminus plus or minus 2 pi or 360 degrees, but we're in radians, over 1 minus 4 pi over 3, right? I have to multiply by 3 top and bottom, okay? Which gives me 6, right? Over 3. So 6 minus 4, right? So 6 pi minus 4 pi, and this is over 3. That gives me 2 pi over 3. But that's my coterminal angle. My reference angle, I have to do, okay, because this is this angle, this way, up here. And I need this little angle. Well, that's in quadrant 2. So that means I have to do the following, okay? And I'm going to change the color so you can see it better to this one. So to find my reference angle, I have to do pi over 1 minus 2 pi over 3, because it's in quadrant 2, is equal to, I have to multiply again, top and bottom by 3. So I have 3 pi over 3 minus 2 pi over 3, which equals pi over 3. And there you have it. There is my reference angle. This is my coterminal angle. This is my reference angle, which is what they're asking for. Okay, now we're down to the last part. Now let's use the reference angles to evaluate functions. Okay, and here we're going to do which examples? Okay, we're going to do example number 9. Okay, and we're going to do example number 11. Okay, and they want us to evaluate the function without, let's highlight that. Let's highlight in this color. And sorry about that. Highlight in this color without using a calculator, which means that it's one of the special angles, 30, 60, or 45, 45, right triangles. Okay, so let's start with the first one, and let's do red here. Okay, we're going to take this color. So for number 9, let's look at number 9 right over here. So the first thing we have to do is let's draw our XY plane. And again, we have to go ahead and see where this is. Now we're going opposite, negative 225. Well, what does that mean? Okay, what that means is that I'm going this way, negative. So this is negative 90, negative 180, negative 270. So it's got to be somewhere over here, right? And now let's just draw a line from here to about there, okay? And let's draw another line, okay, that's going to go this way, like this. Okay, and let's make it a right triangle. And let's erase a little bit of that because I don't like a mess. All right, and there's my right angle. Now let's go in and identify our theta that we're looking for. So we need to determine this angle in order for us to determine the cosine. Okay, we only need the cosine. Okay, well, what quadrant is that? That is quadrant number 2. Okay, so the first thing you have to remember, this is very important. Okay, and I remember mentioning it to you. Remember what we said about the about the cosine, right? The cosine, all students take calculus. Well, only the sine and cosecant here. I'm looking for the cosine. So my answer is got to be negative. So it's going to be the cosine, and it's going to be negative of whatever the angle is. Okay? So this is in this quadrant, right? So the first thing we have to do is find the coterminal. Okay? The coterminal angle. Okay? Here's coterminal angle. And let's fix that. So it's nice. Coterminal angle is negative 225 plus 360, because we're talking about coterminal. That equals 135 degrees. Well, don't I need the reference angle? Well, the reference angle in quadrant 2 is 180, okay, because I need the reference angle. I'm going to abbreviate reference angle. 180 minus 135 equals 45 degrees. And that's the angle I'm looking for, negative the cosine of 45 degrees. Well, I know that 45, 45. So if this is 45, this is a 1, this is a 1, and that's the square root of 2. So I need the cosine of this angle, which is 1, and it's actually negative, negative 1 over the square root of 2, multiplied by the square root of 2, top and bottom. And I have negative the square root of 2 over 2. There's my answer for the cosine. Okay? And that's the one for the cosine. All right? So now I need to do the next thing. Okay? Now I need to do number 11. Well, number 11, let's see. Let's try a different color this time. Let's try this color, right? So now we're going to do 11, and we're going to do 11 right here, all right? 11, we're looking for the cotangent of 4 pi over 3, okay? So we need to first draw out, okay? First we need to know what is 4 pi over 3. Well, isn't that 1.3 repeating pi, right? So now let's draw an XY plane. So we're going to do it right here. All right. All right. And then we are going to draw that. And notice it is positive. So that means it goes this way. So that's going to be just under 1.5. 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2. So that's going to be somewhere in here. All right. So if it's somewhere in here, I'm just going to draw a dot here. And then I'm going to draw a line from the center. And it's got to go through that point. Okay. And I'm going to draw my angle. So my angle is going to be like this. It's going to go like this to here because it's positive. And that is 4 pi over 3. Okay. And I'm looking for this angle here. So I'm going to draw my right triangle here. And I'm just going to extend the line from here, straight there. And I'm going to make it a right triangle. Okay. And the first thing I need to do is determine what quadrant it's in. Well, if it's in quadrant 1, 2, this is quadrant 3. Okay. Well, it's looking for cotangent. All students take calculus. Tangent and cotangent is positive. So my answer is going to be positive. Okay. in order to find the reference angle, okay, the first thing I want to do, okay, is determine this angle. Well, I'm going to do 4 pi over 3, okay, minus pi, because that's here, and the angle has to be this one, which is pi over 1. But I need the same denominator, so I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 3. And that gives me 4 pi over 3 minus 3 pi over 3, which is just pi over 3. Now, if you remember, and it might help you, what I do is I just put little 60 degrees here, because that really is 60 degrees. So we're talking about a 30, 60 degree right triangle. And this angle here, right, is 60 degrees, right? So I also know that it's positive because it's in quadrant 3. All students take calculus. So the next thing I have to do is I have to write my cotangent. Well, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to, find the tangent over here. And then I'm going to switch it around. So the tangent of pi over 3, right? Because if this is, right? Because if this is 60, this is 30, this has to be 1, right? This has to be 2, and this has to be the square root of 3, right? 30, 60, right? Or actually, this is 60, this is 30. So this is 30, all right? 30, 60, pi over 3. So across 30 is half of the hypotenuse, 1 over 2, square root of 3. So to find the tangent of this, I do opposite over adjacent, which is the square root of 3 over 1. But I'm not looking for the tangent. I'm looking for the cotangent, right? So to find the cotangent, which is positive, of this angle, I do 1 over the square root of 3, but I can't keep it that way, so I multiply by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3, right? And that gives me the square root of 3 over 3, and there is my final answer, okay? And we have done a complete review of 9.3. The only thing left for you to do is to study and take the quiz that I'm going to assign to you coming up on a Wednesday. Please be safe, wash your hands. I'm hoping to see you before the year is out. Take care.